Hello and welcome to the guide of arguably one of the better guns in the game currently, the DT-29. Assuming, of course, you can get past the horrible sight. As always, there are timestamps in top right of the screen, so let's jump right into the guide. The best setup for DT-29 in my opinion is the field adjusted sight, field trigger job, light and spring and stainless steel barrel. Although the damage is literally the same as DP-28, you might notice that I don't recommend the bullet. That is because the DT-29 sight is really hard to deal with. But the bullet builds are for sure viable in CQC ranges. But the medium range is not exactly reliable unless you're running a accuracy badge. So hence the stock bullet is the recommendation. Also with the bullet, the build is expensive to maintain, so it does have that as a downside. The TTK of aforementioned stock bullet build is 161.9 milliseconds against non-heavyset users and 242.9 milliseconds against any heavyset. So even without the bullet, TTK sits in a competitive range. Now since DT-29 is a light machine gun, its repair costs are relatively low. The build recommended will only be 3.56 credits per shot. If you really need credits, using just the lightest spring will yield best results. Ammo builds push the cost to the limits of what I consider bearable, coming in at 9.58 for the 7M1 and 4.68 credits per shot for Type L41, so only use those if you're not saving up for something. Running ammo builds is an option, but an expensive one as said before. The best setup would be the N71 bullet since it ups your precision but it introduces issues with visibility. Using an accuracy enhancing badge is very much encouraged in this case, if you still want to maintain good medium range performance. Just don't expect to be one-tapping anyone reliably at mid-range. The TTK bullet builds drops to 161.9 milliseconds to all heavysets, and that is mostly the reason of why you pick it in the first place. Quite frankly, because of this I would recommend getting two DT-29 setups, one with the bullet dedicated to CQC and one without, because of this exact reason. Now as always you will be using heavyset as first badge, but what about the second one? Let's start with accuracy badges first. For this one I'm using the bullet builds to compare worst case scenarios and as you can see, the difference between tight grip and dead eye is not significant. So hence I recommend trying them out both, but most of the people will be happy with either, and since tight grip is unlocked much earlier, might as well stick with it. For no bullet builds, fast reload is king, but not really necessary. Which means Soviets finally have a gun that doesn't really require veteran to be competitive. So running something like Hoarder Gold plus DT-29 and Bazooka or Shrek is an option. Other than that, I heard that people are experimenting with pointer quick fire, which I did as well, and quite frankly it's a fun build, but ultimately not going to be my recommendation, although surprisingly sort of viable. To put things into perspective, the accuracy of the hipfire with pointer quick fire is around the same as ADS without any badges. This gun behaves very much like an LMG, so crouching is super important. Obviously, like with most LMGs, strafing isn't exactly great, but you can still do minimal inputs, so it's something in between MG42 and SMGs for reference. If you're not running pointer quick fire or deadeye, your hipfire will be disappointing. If you do, however, it's around about the same as a SMG without any of the badges. Tapping or bursting, whichever way you want to call it, is very much encouraged, since because of bad sight, it's really hard to keep track of targets. If you lose the target in CQC, going out of ADS and into hipfire will help, but it's not exactly reliable.